大家好，我是老人，欢迎收看新的一期《这表什么面对面》节目。如果你对德表感兴趣，尤其是来自于格拉苏蒂的宇联的话，不要错过这期节目，因为我把他们的产品总监托比亚斯·汉曼请到了节目的现场。我打算跟大家一起聊一聊关于德表设计，还有这个新款作品的一些有意思的话题。Welcome, Tobias. Welcome to our
Really
show.
a pleasure. To be here, thanks for the invitation. It is really something very amazing to be back in Shanghai after 3.5 years of COVID.
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Tobias Hamann. I'm from Germany, Glashütte. I'm a master of watchmaking and also head of product development and design.
And I heard that you were born with a watchmaking family. Is that true? And how does that influence with your watch design job?
This was, of course, a lot of influence back in the past because, my parents, they were back in the days at the university in Glashütte, so they both are engineers, and I grew up in a household full of watches, as you can say so. So it also helped me later on when I try to find out what will I do later in life, what is maybe my hobby, my passion, and I try to, or I get the place for a training as a watchmaker, and after the 3 years of education, I was lucky enough to start as a watchmaker in the Glashütte watch industry.
Oh, that must be very happy when you are young. You have lots of watches
yes,
around you. Yeah.
And expensive watches too, yeah. So after the 3 years of education as a base watchmaker, I start to work for a union, and 2 years really as a watchmaker on my table. And then I decided to go to masterclass. It takes me another 2 years, and in the masterclass the main task is to create your own complications on a watch, but also doing your own construction. So it helps me a lot, and after I passed all the exams and become the master of watchmaking, I got my first project to create a watch for our 125 years anniversary. I started to rethink, okay, what could be the best way to talk people or bring people the historic things, like historic pocket watches, back on their wrists. And of course, historic pocket watches, they are not automatic, they are hand-winded. So we took a caliber that we already have in-house and reduced it as much as we could, brought together with typical Glashütte elements, for example, the 3/4 blade, blue screws, and so we create a really nice hand-winding watch, and I'm very proud that we presented it on our exhibition for our 125th years of anniversary.
Yes. Is that true that the watch in my hand is your piece?
Yeah, one of my pieces. Yes.
I'd like this kind of three small dials and with a panda, but it's different.
Yeah, it's the main difference between a regular chronograph that you can find on the market is that not all the three zones that you can see on your watch are in the same color. So it's only the thing that is, let's say, the regular time. You can read it with the white dial or the ivory dial. So you have the small second, hours and minutes, and all the things that you need when you are in the car and the car is shaking like a little bit, vintage car, and then you need to be focused on the chronograph. And therefore we use the chronograph, for example, the tachymeter, but also the minute counter, the hour counter in a different color. So your brain can really choose, or your eyes can really choose easily, do I need the regular time or do I need the functions of the chronograph? And that's why the watch is designed like this. All the other things, the numerals, the print are a little bit finer, going in the background, because you don't need it to tell the time anyway. It really is something very special for me as well.
And I also heard that you are also a fan of the vintage cars.
Yes.
Yes, all the German like cars. When you design your watch, is there lots of experience from the vintage car or the part of car? Because I see lots of beautiful color here.
Yes, we try to bring the vintage car vibe to the watches. And the biggest problem is that we don't have too much space on a watch. So for this watch, we are getting inspired by the late 1960s, so also vintage inspired, and we took original car paint and bring it on the watch. And for example, right here, really this poppy yellow, it's called a Bahama yellow, and it's really looking bright on your wrist and remains completely to a vintage car, especially also the details that you can see. For example, the union is made like a sticker on the back of the car with the chrome elements. Really should look like a vintage car on your wrist. Together with the green, the blue, very poppy colors. But I also try to create or find elements, especially on car, maybe sometimes a dashboard of an old car or lights. I always find an inspiration and bring it on the dial or on the watch side.
And in this, which color is your most favorite?
My favorite is the blue tone.
The blue one,
Because regularly, you know, blue watches all over the place, but this blue is such a special kind of blue, really from the old car back on your wrist. So my favorite is the... And my favorite watch is the watch that I wear. It's the hand-winding chronograph from the line 1893. It has the same historical background, so the design inspiration came from a historical pocket watch. We had the white enamel dial. If you look at the dial, it's perfectly balanced. It's the Arabic numerals combined with the totalizator, so the zones for the chronograph. Everything is in perfect harmony. Also for my wrist, it fits with the 42mm case size. So if you start the chronograph and stop, you can see all the mechanics working inside. It looks like a city for itself, so a micro city, and I really enjoy also playing something only with the chronograph, not measuring the time, and this is really the most amazing watch, and I hope it stays in my collection for a while.
You can leave it in my office. Okay. I like it too. And the next question is for the new watch collectors. When they first, for example, interested into the Union brand, what is your recommendation for them to buy your Union watches?
That's a very difficult question for me because, as you mentioned, over the years, we developed as a team a lot of nice watches, and all of them are my babies. So they are all good, kind of like. But of course, we are very strong into chronographs. This is one of our major things. For example, the Panda dial, the Bellezza chronograph that you are wearing is very popular. Also a watch that you can have for a few years and decades because the design is not getting old, and so it's a very good start. Maybe the nice chronograph. We also have the Bellezza chronograph with the moon face. It's also very nice for a German design, very clean, but brings a lot of function on your wrist. Our customers, our collectors like personally and what they felt comfortable with.
Do you notice the trend that in these 2 years there's lots of watchmakers making smaller watches? Will you also to join this battle for smaller watches?
Of course, it's a very interesting trend. We already started into our collection. The before mentioned Bellezza chronograph with the moon face, we reduced the size from 44mm to 42mm, getting a little bit smaller. Of course, it's for our customers, especially also in Europe and Germany, a 36mm or 37mm is way too small for their wrists.
I also have a question. I'm very curious. You are German, and there's also some Swissmen. And what's the difference between the watchmaking in these two?
Especially for Union, we talk about another specialty. It's called the Glashütte watch. So in Glashütte itself, it is a small town, only around 4,000 inhabitants, so a very small village. And in this town, we have 10 different luxury watch companies.
10 companies? I only know 3.
No, 10 big companies. And the sign that you can write on a dial, Glashütte, is protected by law. So you have to produce at least 51% of the value in Glashütte in this small town. So it's not allowed to have and other facilities worldwide, and it's only allowed to produce the watches by watchmakers.
Okay.
So all of these things, what you can see right here, is produced by our own watchmakers. A lot of the things are handmade. You can see it through every glass bottom of the watch. The production volume is very low, so it's not a mass-produced watch what you can find in Swiss watch industry.
Okay. And the final question, we are very popular watch videos in China, and do you have something to say to our Chinese fans?
Yeah, Union is a very special brand, a small brand from Glashütte in Germany. And of course, you have other competitors. So sometimes you buy a watch to show it to others. A Union watch you buy for yourself.
Well, that's a good summary. Okay, thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you.